Welcome back, everyone. In our objective 1.1, we discovered the basics of Python. We looked at data types, how to create variables, assign values, and even how to make our output look cleaner using concatenations and f-strings. That was like learning how to store different items safely in jars with the right labels. But here's the thing, in real life, we don't just keep individual jars sitting around. We usually need to organize them, maybe on a shelf, in a shopping basket, or grouped by use. The same idea applies in Python. For example, imagine you are preparing your weekly shopping list. So let's say we have items like bread, you've got milk, and you've got eggs. Then you remember, oh, I also need bananas. So you add bananas to the list. Okay, bananas to the list. Then later you realize you already have milk at home. So you remove it from the list. And if you're like me, you might even want to sort the list in alphabetical order or check which item cost the most. So all of that is possible in Python using something called data structures. And the most common one we will explore is the list. So in our objective 1.2, which is perform and analyze data and data type operations, we will learn how to convert between data types when needed, use our indexing and slicing to grab specific pieces of data, construct our own list, and perform all kinds of useful list operations like adding items, removing them, merging two lists, finding the maximum or minimum values, sorting, and even reversing the order. So by the end of this particular lesson, or by this particular objective, which is 1.2, you won't just know how to hold data, you will know how to organize and manage collections of data, which is a crucial step in becoming confident with Python. So stay glued to your screen as we go through this lesson together. So how do we convert data types in Python? In Python, there are two numeric data types. We have the integers and the floats, the whole numbers and the decimals. So occasionally you might work with someone else's code and need to convert an integer to a float or vice versa. Or you may realize that you need a float instead of an integer. So Python provides built-in methods for easily converting integers to float and vice versa. So we use the int and the float. So the Python's float method converts integers to float as I've already stated. And to use this function, place the integer inside. Let me get this. Inside the parentheses like float 44. So you can also convert a variable containing an integer to a float with float, then the variable's name. So this is an example where we convert this to a float. So how do we do that? So with this, this is a comment, okay? Convert an integer to a float. So we have something like this. So our integer can be x. So x is equal to 90. We've declared a variable. And now we want to print. We are converting this to a float. So float, then you put the variable's name x in there. Boom. Now it's converted into a float. Does it make sense? I hope it does. Okay. Then we can also use that same principle where we convert from float to an integer. So when you're converting something like this to an integer, then it's going to remove or truncate the decimals. So let's see how that's also going to work. So we're going to print. So we've not declared any variable. We're just entering the value 32.98. So we're converting it from float to an integer. So once you hit enter, it's converted into an integer, and the decimal places have been removed. So this is how it works. And we can also declare a variable and do the same process. Okay. So where x is equal to 56.96. Now I want to convert it. So print this float. So we want to convert it into an integer. I call my variable x. I'll hit it. Now you see it's truncate the 96 of it. Then you only have 56. Okay. Well done. So that's the example you saw there. So when converting floats to integers with the int function, Python truncates the decimal part and any remaining numbers, resulting in an integer. That is it. So Python's int function does not round numbers. It simply truncates the decimal part. So the decimals will be removed. It's not going to round it up, but we'll cut off the decimal. So x here, 45.72, then you print, and then the output is now what, 45. So if you want to round it, you use the round function. Okay. So if I have x again, x. So let's look at a being equal to 45.72. Now I want to print. We're converting it into an integer. So the a call. Now we have 45. Now let's look at printing. Then we're going to round it a. Then we're going to get what, 46. So when you round it to the nearest whole number, it changes from 45 to 46. So if you want to round, then you use the round. If you converting it into an integer, bear in mind that it's going to truncate or cut off the decimal and any other number after the decimal point. Okay, good. So that's what we get. And we also convert numbers into strings if we want to. And I think I demonstrated that in our previous lesson. So strings are common data type in computer programs, and converting between strings and numbers is often necessary, especially when handling user input. So to convert numbers to strings, you can use the str method by passing a number or a variable into the parentheses of the string method. So the numeric value will be converted to a string. So we have an example like this. So we want to convert it into a string. Then I will say, let's say x, let me use p being equal to 18. Then I want to convert it into a string. So I'll say print, so str, then p. So once I hit, it should be converted into a string. Str 18, and that's what you get. So now this has been converted into a string with the inverted commas. Well done. So that's what you get. So this just the beginning. So as we move through the objective 1.2, we will get to fall in love with Python and be a master at organizing and managing collection of data. If you've not subscribed to the channel up until this point, please do so and share it with anyone who is preparing for the information technology specialist certification in Python with Certiport. And of course, I do have discounted vouchers on my website where you can just go to fittsgh.net. Then you get all the prizes. Then we can communicate and schedule your exam. Bye bye for now, and blessings.